You're not failing because you're bad at sales. You're failing because you fell in love with the product and now you're desperately hunting for anybody who might want it. That's backwards, and it's why you're broke. Let me show you how the game actually works in insurance sales. Most agents are grave diggers looking for someone to bury. What's the mistake that most agents make? We start with the product. We pick between whole life, term, mortgage protection, final expense, debt-free life, IULs, whatever, and now you're trying to force feed it. There was someone who set up at a conference and told me, put your finger on your pulse. Anybody who has one of those is your customer. And this is why every conversation feels like coercion. It feels like manipulation. It feels like convincing someone to do what they already don't want to do. And that makes sales feel really nasty because it feels like you're pushing. It feels like you're wrestling on the ground with grown adults because you're trying to make their life fit your solution. Real sales works backwards. You have to understand the person's pain and then solve it with whatever tool makes sense. How do I know this is true? Well, have you ever been to a doctor in the United States? If you've ever had the privilege of going to a bad one, what do? They just go in there, they don't listen to a single fucking thing you say, and they just give you a prescription for Adderall or morphine, fucking whatever. I mean, go in there and tell them that you had a bad day, and they're like, yep, that'd be depression kicking in. And until you have the other opposite experience to contrast that with what a good doctor would do, one, they'd probably tell you to go get some fucking sunlight. They'd listen like, yeah, well, go get some sun. Have you tried going outside? Have you tried being a man? That's probably what a good doctor would say. I'm not a doctor, so ignore this. Go take whatever local drug dealing doctor advice that they give you. This is all for entertainment. As a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about earning money on this video. However, this is a fucking YouTube video. I don't know how likely you are to follow through with anything. I don't know if you followed through with anything in your life. And so the chances of you making money with things on the internet are slim to none. But for those of you who can go out there and act and do things, you're really going to get some value out of this video. But real sales works like a real doctor's environment. They diagnose first, prescribe second. And doctors who don't do that, there's a medical legal term. It's called malpractice. Doctors lose their license over that shit. A prescription without a diagnosis in the medical field is malpractice. And if a doctor loses their license over prescribing without diagnosing, insurance agents should too. We should revoke your state license to where you do not have the ability to sell. If you go into sales calls just with the price and the product and you're talking about numbers in the first 5 minutes, you should not be allowed to sell legally. For example, the story I'm about to tell you, a lot of uplines would probably get very excited for their downline to go and do something like this, and I was absolutely horrified. I watched this downline of mine. This agent is on a call with the lead they bought, and he comes back. He's like, Mason, I sold a $450 a month policy. I was like, dude, fucking nice, man. Like, you sales process, I'm very proud. Like situation, what like we do to get that, maybe the other agents on the team might learn something from you. He says, yeah, I was a single mom working 2 jobs who could barely afford groceries. I was just like, oh no, what'd you write? And it's like, whole life. It's like, he loved the product so much. He couldn't see that she needed a term and a fucking budget. I had to call and apologize to her and rescind that because there was no way in hell, based on her budget when I asked her the questions, that she was ever going to be able to afford that policy more than like 10. Now, he obviously lost that sale. He was not too happy. He ended up quitting. And I was, you know what? Some people just don't belong here. But he lost the sale and she stayed uninsured because of that. I had to go back and tell her. And then after that, she was just pissed and convinced that men are trash and fucking evil and all this stupid shit. So here's the thing. When the product becomes your identity, you stop seeing people altogether. So you have to understand the game you're in. You're not a life insurance agent. You're a problem solver who happens to use life insurance, okay? When you make the product your personality, well, I do final expense, dude. You become a walking brochure instead of a trusted advisor. People do not look at you like you're an expert. They look at you like you're a sleazy salesperson. Okay, there's a skit I might play for you sometime. It's called The More Useless the Product, the More Aggressive the Salesperson. It's a fantastic video. Go watch that. But people don't want to buy from someone whose entire existence revolves around one financial instrument. You're a one-trick pony, okay? Your job is to solve problems. Sometimes that's life insurance. Sometimes it's telling them to fuck off. You don't need this. Stop opting into stuff and wasting my ad spend, okay? And okay with that makes you more money. It makes you way more. The agents who make 7 figures, they don't lead with products. We lead with questions. Okay? If you don't know what to do, it's because you're not asking the right question. That's true and applicable for any vertical, any area of your life. We ask about their goals, their fears, their desires, their family, their future. And the product shows up at the very end. And by then, if you ask the right questions, it feels like the obvious answer. But even if you detach from the product, you're still screwed if you're trying to sell it to everybody. Because the cardinal sin that people make in marketing, well, for one, most insurance agents will never be good at marketing. They have no clue what marketing is. They think, like, when I was a brand new agent, I thought marketing was buying leads. Like, that's not fucking marketing. That's buying strangers' names in a CSV file and donating your money to people mentally. Like, they're poor. All they have is a couple $100,000 maybe, like that bad. So when you sell to everyone, you speak to no one. When you talk to everyone, no one fucking listens. Mike Tyson has a beautiful quote. He says, if you're a friend to everyone, you're an enemy to yourself. All right? Trying to serve everybody means your message is so generic, it doesn't land with anyone. All right? It's like a plane without wings. It just fucking crashes and burns. I wish that would have happened to some politicians. But anyways, you can't speak to the specific pain of a young family and a retiree in the same pitch. They live in different worlds. The old people look at the young ones like, I don't fucking know what it's like. And this dude's like, bitch, you don't even know how to operate TikTok. You don't even know what no cap on God Riz fucking 3,000 wrist twist means, dude. And it's a mismatch. Targeting kills conversion because people only buy when they feel like you're talking directly to them. All right. So if you notice in a lot of my videos, if you ever get the privilege of seeing my ads on Facebook, you notice I use the word you a lot, and I'm very specific. I'm talking to one specific person. I don't just say, if you've ever thought about life insurance, say it, but no, none of that shit. So look at your last 10 conversations. If they were with 10 completely different types of people, your pitch was probably different every single time. And that's not strategy, that's chaos. You're not conserving any energy. You're being lazy by not front loading the work it takes to build a real business. That's chaos. Chaos does not scale, my friend. Once you actually pick who you're actually for, something magical happens. Something magical takes place. The sales process writes itself. Okay? I'll show you exactly what I mean. The moment you know what you're talking to, the sales process writes itself. For example, we could be going after single moms. We could go after vets. What age though, Mason? See, it goes into subsets. We can go into active duty. We could go into, that's way too damn thick. We can go into separated. We can go into injured. We can go into anybody who received a Purple Heart. We can go into contractors. We can go into construction workers. There's all these different niches that we could potentially go into. And when you pick a precise avatar, single moms, contractors, veterans, business owners, you instantly know their fears, their goals, their desires, and their objections. You know what they need to hear in order to come to the right conclusion about the policy. And before you get any limiting beliefs, like Mason, it sounds demonic, it sounds manipulative. This is sales, okay? And who suffers as a result of your own pride and nobility? Like, if you don't help them and no one else does because they're too worried about, I don't want to come off as salesy. Their family's fucked if they need this and don't have it. Like, most Americans right now don't even have $1,000 to their fucking name. And you think that by them giving you $80 a month, $200 a month, you're somehow causing them to lose because you're winning. Like, that's retarded. Okay? You have to know what to say to people. You have to know what keeps them up at night. What language do they use? What triggers make them say yes? All right? Sales stops feeling like a pitch and starts feeling like a conversation and someone you actually understand, okay? So get rid of all this fucking Jeremy Minor. This is just Mason. Like, Get rid of all this crazy bullshit and just have conversations with people and ask them questions. Be yourself. Be a human. All right? I knew an agent who only worked with firefighters. He knew their schedules, their benefits, their risk, their families, their lung issues from breathing in smoke, their injuries they sustained from any training, anything like that. He closed about 80% of his appointments and had about a 90% show-up rate because he spoke their language fluently. He had what's called in marketing insider language. He knew the terms and vernacular, the specific words people would use. Something like the healthcare world, a word that's common in their world that's not common to anybody else is benign. What are pulse or what are their metrics? Like they're in all these medical terms that other people wouldn't understand. In the marketing world, we say things like CAC, what's the cost to acquire a customer? Not the other fucking words you were thinking about in a British accent. Get your head out of the gutter. This is a fucking YouTube video, not your other websites you visit because sales aren't going well. Stop doing that. Grow up. So what's the term the marketers use? Top of bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, row, return on ad spend. Top of funnel is like all your cold audience coming in. Warm funnel is all of your bottom of funnel content that people really know I can trust you from. All right, it's your audience who already wants to buy from you damn near. So having that insider language gives you a one-up over anybody else. You have an unfair advantage because you have specificity on your side. And specificity, it doesn't just help you close, it helps you build something that fucking lasts, dude. So reputation is built-in repetition, and you can't repeat yourself to 1,000 different people. When you niche down, you become known for solving one problem for one group. And that's how referrals happen. People come to me for help with their leads. Like, people don't refer you when you do insurance. They refer you when you're the guy who helps teachers with their insurance, or the woman who protects contractors. Long-term wealth in this industry is about being the obvious choice for a specific group of people. This is called top of mind. I'm going to show you what this means. You're going to think in your head right now, when I say the word, first, supposedly, allegedly, because we don't fucking know, all the CGI and AI bullshit, who is the first person to step foot on the moon? What is the tallest mountain in the world? Who was the first president? Who was the first sports team? What was the first sport? People only remember what comes first. We very rare, like number one soft drink, Coca-Cola. Number one person on the moon, Neil Armstrong. What is the tallest mountain? Is it Mount Everest? It's like, what was the 13th tallest mountain? Who was the 13th person on the moon? You wouldn't fucking know. Nobody knows, because if you're not first, you're last, right? You have to own your category. You have to own your own blue ocean. You have to own your own space of people, your own pocket, your own niche, your own pond, right? Long-term wealth in this industry comes from being the obvious choice for a specific group of people. We're not there to fucking chase and hound strangers to make decisions they already don't want to make. When you do what I'm telling you to do, which is also coming from what I've fucking done myself and helped hundreds of other agents do in programs, every top producer I've ever met owns their own space. They own their own market. They're not generalist, they're specialist. And specialists get paid by specialists. Who makes more money? Heart specialist, general doctor. The heart specialist every fucking day. All right? But most agents never get there because they're too busy feeding the machine, bouncing between 30 different products and 30 different lead vendors' dicks. They don't realize they're getting fucked and they're feeding the machine that keeps them broke. All right? Lead vendors love your confusion. They sell you a list of strangers because you don't actually know who the fuck you want to talk to. Buying leads from a lead vendor is a lot like wearing somebody else's underwear. It sounds kinky, it sounds exciting, until you put them on and you feel what the fucking last person did to them. Buying insurance leads from a lead vendor that sells to everybody else the same information over and over again, it's like buying a lottery ticket for a lotto that called the winner last week. Would you ever buy a lottery ticket for a lotto that already called the winner? It already expired and the cash prize is already taken. Fuck no. Just like if you went to a casino, you're not going to go to the machine that just won a jackpot because that person already fucking took all the money. All right? Would you go to a party and kiss the girl that you just saw her go around and put out for 20 other dudes? Absolutely fucking not. You would know the hoe to stay away from, right? Lead vendors profit off of your ignorance and your arrogance. They profit off of agents who have no clear avatar. They sell you garbage contacts because you have no filter, and filters create your focus, all right? When you know what to filter out, when you define something, you confine it. When you put yourself in a box, I know they tell you to not be in a box, but it's actually your protection, okay? Being in a box is like your condom for insurance sales. It keeps you safe and protected. It's your condom, right? So when you define your avatar, you define everyone your avatar is not. You know who to sell to, and that's just as important. Sometimes the process of elimination, knowing who you don't want to date, who you don't want to be with, by process of elimination, you weed everybody else out. When you only sell to healthcare workers, for example, or veterans, anybody who's not that, you don't fucking touch with a 10-foot pole, like the Grinch, right? If you don't know who you're looking for, you'll buy anybody, you'll buy any list they put in front of you, and you'll waste your money on people who were never your fucking people, okay? The moment you define your who, you so what in their trash, and you start attracting your own leads because you know exactly what to do, okay? It creates that gives you focus. You don't need all this balance. You need no, you need fucking focus. When you're in focus, you're out of balance. When you're in balance, you're out of focus. All right. You pick one group of people and you obsess over them and you obsess over their problem. All right. I've seen agents burn tens of thousands of dollars on leads and licenses that went nowhere because they didn't have a target. One couple came to me. They got licensed in in all 50 states, both of them on top of their agency license in all 50 states. This was one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen anybody do in their life. When I asked him, why did you spend all of this money and you have not even made a sale yet? You haven't generated leads. You haven't done nothing. They said, our upline told us to. I don't know who you work with. Just don't care because they get paid either way. All right. And here's where it gets even better. When you know your who, product conversation changes completely. I'll show you exactly what I mean. For example, if we have a 25-year-old teacher and a 50-year-old business owner, looks like T-her. If you have a 25-year-old teacher and a 50-year-old business owner, they don't need the same damn policy, okay? We'll give them a top hat because that's what ballers do. The product you recommend should be a byproduct of understanding your audience's life stage, where they are at this point, this time of their life, their income, their family structure, and their goals. A 50-year-old business owner has completely different desires and hopes and fears compared to a 25-year-old female teacher, because you can't cookie cutter this shit. You can't just put a mold on fucking everybody. They don't fit. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It's like you ever meet one of those retarded kids in kindergarten who just kept trying to shove the fucking round peg through a square hole? Like, it's just different people need different solutions. And knowing your who tells you which tool to pull. Trying to sell the same policy to everyone is why you're leaving money on the table. It's probably why you're still broke. A 28-year-old student with college debt and a newborn is probably going to need cheap term coverage. A 50-year-old business owner, on the other hand, is going to need something for key man risk if he has a partner that maybe builds cash value and protects their exit strategy. Or the business owner who's married, he's married to a 25-year-old teacher, and right, so 50-year-old business owner is married to 25-year-old teacher who don't know shit about business. So business owner dude gets off, I don't know, he's hanging out with the mafia or some shit and he dies. Because he doesn't have any type of life insurance, what are her issues now? What problems does she accrue now that her business owner husband is gone? One, they lose all of their active income because he's no longer running the business. Now, what also happens? The business does not cease to exist. The world doesn't stop because you fucking die. People still, their problems still go on. The mortgage company doesn't give a fuck. The bank doesn't give a fuck. They want their money. All right. Not all of it, just the next payment if you have a loan. And so he still has payroll. He still has staff and all this stuff he is spending money on, as well as the ability to earn an income is now gone for him. He's no longer providing income, so his wife is affected, and she doesn't know the business skills to go sell the business. Now, had he a good policy, she could have used that money to pay someone to come in and run the business or sell it so it didn't just go fucking downhill overnight. This is an example of you have to know these people's problems, all right? You cannot have the same conversation with every single person. If you are it wrong. But none of this works if you're asking the wrong questions from the jump. Instead of asking, what do I want to sell? Ask, who do I want to spend my life helping? Who am I excited to get up out of bed for every single day and go listen to them bitch and gripe and complain about their problems? Whose problems do I care enough to solve? Whose problem am I uniquely qualified to solve? What about me is different that my solution would stand out in the marketplace and really help these people out? This reframe, it changes everything for me. It's not about who you can convince. It's about who you can give permission to solve problems they already want gone. Okay? It's about who actually cares serving. When you pick people you respect and you understand and you connect with, the work becomes fulfilling instead of exhausting. You get a natural pick-me-up, a natural energy boost. And this is how you build a business that lasts, because you're not just chasing commissions, you're building relationships with people who matter to you, and you may actually have some fucking fun, okay? And no one's tired when they're winning. You're only pissed off, you only feel depressed, you only feel sad when you're fucking losing, when the environment is not giving you the circumstances you desire. All right, the positive that you want. So I chose to work with business owners because I actually give a damn about watching people win in the space that I'm good at. I'm great at business. I've built plenty of them for myself. I've also burned quite a few down. All right, if you ask 22-year-old me how to burn money, he could do things like go buy leads. Go watch my earliest videos on this channel, me talking about just buying leads. It's maybe I need to do one of those reaction videos to younger me. Because 22-year-old Mason, man, that was a mess. He's over here talking like this and dang boomhauer, son. Fucking Kentucky, man. And I now do work with insurance agents because I give a damn about watching you win. I could sell to anybody, but I want to spend my time with people who are hungry, who are coachable, and ready to build something real. That alignment makes the work worth doing. And when you pick your people, you unlock a superpower that most agents never develop. You can't see what works if every conversation is with a completely different human. When you serve the same type of person every single day over and over, you start seeing objections before they happen. You start noticing things beneath the surface. You refine your pitch to surgical precision. It's going in there with a scalpel rather than a fucking chainsaw. All right? Because you've had this conversation 50 times and you know what? That's how you close faster with less effort and still make more, because you've seen this movie before and you know how it ends, more importantly. After talking to 100 teachers, after talking to 100 business owners, you know exactly what you're worried about in March versus September. You know what words trigger trust and what words make them shut down. That's not luck. That's pattern recognition. If I were to ask a teacher what she's worried about in the summer, it's probably getting their tan on or fucking going out with the boys or some shit. And then if you ask them in August when school starts back up, it's a completely different set of issues. If you ask the business owner in Q4 of the year what he's worried about, it's like, hey, fucking Black Friday is rolling around. We got to get our advertising budget up. This is our biggest season of the year. Versus January, they're worried about other shit, or maybe it's every 4 years, fiscal policy, the new president's coming in, we're kind of holding back on budget until we see if it's going to be a Democrat. More importantly, top earners, they don't sell life insurance. They solve problems for people they've chosen to serve. 6- and 7-figure producers built their little small empires. So they built that, though, by owning a specific market and becoming the go-to expert for that group of people. They don't chase, they attract. They prize never chooses, my dear friend, because they've positioned themselves as the obvious choice for their who, right? The problem is the person, not the other way around. And that's why they close more, they earn more, and they work less. It's a lot like dating, right? If you're the dude who's going and asking 100 girls out on a date, you look very desperate. But if you're the dude who has 100 girls asking you, you get to which one's the least craziest bitch, right? And that's a good position to be in. You don't have to worry about the stalkers or anything like that. You can get a good person. Every agent I know making serious money has a who. Teachers, doctors, business owners, firefighters, realtors. They pick their lane, they dominate it after they learn on the ins and the outs, and some shit stays shitty in every niche. So don't get shiny object syndrome. You pick one group of people that has a big enough TAM and enough purchasing power. I can promise you there's not one niche out there you can't get to at least 25 to 50 million with. All right? That's income, not just policies sold or premium issue. No, it's commissions. And now those people print money while everyone else scrambles for scraps. So the question is for you, my dear friend, answer this for yourself. Are you going to keep shopping for bodies, or are you going to pick your people and build something that actually matters? All right? Because here's the truth. You're one decision away from changing your entire career. Pick your fucking who. Not tomorrow, today, right now. The moment you do, everything gets easier. The words, they come faster. Like, no, I don't know what to say. Like, that shit goes away. It gets easier. The close feels natural and the money follows. So drop a comment with your who and watch the next video. I'll have somewhere down below or right here on screen about how to speak their language and stop being the agent everyone ignores. It could all be yours if you had the words to say. So let's get you the words. If you need to know the words, I encourage you to go pick up this book. It will teach you how to find your who. I just published this. The Lead Trap. It's going to tell you how to build your lead machine and where to find your people and how to construct your own advertising and marketing campaign all in an automated way. If you want to